It's funny. I was watching this documentary on Stan last night about neo-Nazi groups in Australia, like the rise of neo-Nazism. And I think you probably remember there was like a investigative piece done by 60 Minutes and the Sydney Morning Herald and Channel 9, I think, where they infiltrated this group in Victoria, the largest neo-Nazi group in Australia. And I was really surprised because the guy that they hired to go undercover, who I'm assuming is private investigator or an ex-cop, or maybe he's just like an investigative journalist, but this dude's obviously experienced in undercover. So, because they document the whole thing, like, they've identified the group. They want to get more information about the inner workings of the group. What's the leadership structure? How are they recruiting? All this kind of stuff. And so they're talking to this undercover guy, and they're like, "Well, you need to ingratiate yourself with the group. You need to then move into the inner circle, and then just feed all the information back to us." And this is all like documented. And so the guy who's going undercover, like he's all mic'd up and stuff, obviously wearing a wire for the documentary purposes. So he does his interview with the white supremacists. And I'm like, oh, this will be interesting to sort of see, like, this is the first real contact he's having with them. So he's been messaging them over Telegram and stuff and going to their Facebook pages and stuff. And eventually, he's set up this kind of interview to be let into the group. And the guy sort of said to him, the first question the white supremacists asked him, well, how would you describe your political views? And from an acting point of view, like when you take on a character, you generally, you sort of dig a bit deep into, oh, well, where's this person come from? And you want to have some complexity to it. It's a fairly detailed backstory. So it's like, well, my father did this and my mother did this. I went to school here, just so the world feels more enriched for you. Turns out when you're going undercover, you just go for the most obvious thing. Because the guy was like, what's your political views? And he's gone, I'd say I'm racist.
Yeah, like, just racist.
I'm just really racist.
I'm really racist. I love white people and not other people. I'm totes racist. What's your backstory? No backstory, just racist. Just love being racist.
That's exactly what he's saying. Then the whole time I'm watching this going like, surely the neo-Nazis are going to go, this sounds awfully like convenient and not very well thought out at all. But no, like they're like, sure, we agree with that too. We are also incredibly racist and we believe in racism.
Yeah.
And it was like,
any of you guys like racism? Because I'm really into racism. You guys like racism? Tell us about the racism you've done.
You tick off the cliches. He was like, why do you have those political views? Oh, because they come here and they steal our jobs and they do all the crimes. And like, it's literally the first three things you could think of. And then they were like, what are your views on homosexuality? And he's like, oh, well, it's not Adam and Eve, it's Adam and Steve. Oh. And then I'm suddenly like going, come on, white supremacists. Like, you should be able to sniff this out. This guy's like not even trying.
This guy's literally just saying things that are on bumper stickers.
Literally. And then, so he gets into the group, and so he's, they've identified where the headquarters is, and so he's gone around and like I don't know. I don't think anyone's ever tried to infiltrate any group I've been in, so maybe I don't know, but he's walking around like with this hidden camera, like pinhole camera, going up to every single person and saying, "G'day, I'm Davo. What's your name? And what do you do in this group?" And like literally being so unsubtle. And these people being like, I'm the sergeant at arms or whatever. And oh yeah, I organize all this stuff. And so at one stage, he's saying goodbye to a couple of them, one of the neo-Nazis and his girlfriend, and his dog's in the car. And the neo-Nazi and his girlfriend come over and they're patting the dog and stuff. And they're like, oh, it's great. It's a German Shepherd. It's like, yeah, of course it's a German Shepherd. I wouldn't have any other dog. And then they said, what's the dog's name? It's gone, Kaiser. And I'm like, oh, come on, neo-Nazis. Like, this dude is being so obvious. There aren't any alarm bells ringing. It was just like, I thought maybe I could go undercover. Like, the level of kind of backstory I've done on Home and Away goes much further than this investigative reporter.
I mean, it does feel like it's the absolute cliche of what it is to be a neo-Nazi. But maybe that's what being a neo-Nazi is. Like, because maybe they are just play acting those things, right? Like, and it is those key talking points. You just check off the top 5 and you're a neo-Nazi. It's funny what you said about him just asking people what their names were and what they did. Have you seen the M. Night Shyamalan movie Old?
No, the beach that makes you old? Or is that a spoiler?
Yeah, The Beach That Makes You Old. I haven't. No. That's the whole principle of the movie. The Beach That Makes You Old people know about. I've tried to watch it twice, and I still haven't made it to what I imagine is a twist ending at some stage, right? But it's so frustrating. It's such a terrible film on so many different levels. But the thing that kills me the most about this film, and I've watched it now twice because it was being watched in the house yesterday, and I was walking by it, and I went, "Oh, it's fucking happened again!" And it reminded me of this. There is a kid character who basically the idea is, I think, that he wants to be like a filmmaker or like a journalist or whatever, but he's literally just the laziest exposition character you have ever met in your entire life, because he literally just goes around to people and goes, "Hi, what's your name? What do you do?" And that is how all the characters are introduced in this film. They're like, you know what? We could like write a script that introduced these various characters in an interesting and creative way, or we could just get a kid to literally go up to each of them and say, "What's your name? What do you do?" But it turns out that is how you become an undercover investigative reporter. So maybe I'm wrong and M. Night Shyamalan is right.
To see the full video, join our Patreon.
Patreon.com/TOFOP.